Do you remember the end of Star Wars: A New Hope when Luke's X-wing kind of comes into Yavin 4 and they're all partying and then they forget? Well, they remember. Oh wait, R2's still in the X-wing.
Yeah,
and he's all fucked up.
Yeah, he got blasted pretty good, if I remember correctly.
Yeah, it was looking pretty rough. Well,
and the only one that cared was 3PO.
Right. So imagine, if you will, they get R2 out of the X-wing, and they're like, "Hey, R2, you've got a podcast to record."
Oh no!
And R2 kind of just like shuffles over. It's like, "All right, let's go."
So you've been hoisted out of the back of the X-wing with the little crane suction cup thing,
right? And
you've been dropped onto the ground of the base, and you've waddled your way over to your seat.
Yeah.
I'm sorry.
That's fine. It's fine. We're all fine here. How are you? I originally was going to open this up with things I'd rather be talking about or doing than talking about this movie.
That list is so long, though.
It's a very long list, and also I don't know how much I'll actually end up talking about the movie because I am a exploded R2 unit.
Fair.
And there's a significant part of my memory unit that is not there now.
Oh, no. To be fair, this movie will do that to you.
Yeah, it was like I watched this movie, and then I had a bunch of like medical shit to deal with, as well as like mental shit and other things, while also reading about the actual Marilyn. So I was like, okay, well, wait, which happened in the movie? What was not true, but is true in the real life?
Okay.
And, but this is the last episode of this season. This is the last episode of season 2.
We promised.
And I'll be incapacitated within 48 hours.
That's true. Yeah, you'll be finally going in for your hernia surgery.
Right. And, who knows? They could botch it and I have spider powers and I'll have other things that I'll need to do. I don't know how hernias work.
I would say that's the best case scenario if they botch it. Yeah.
Right.
Yeah. It's like a 16% chance of spider powers, I think.
Okay, that's much higher than I expected.
Honestly, yeah. Maybe they improved the botch. I think
good for them.
Yeah.
Modern medicine. Wow, what a thing.
What a cool system.
Welcome to DeRazzled, the podcast that takes award-winning worst films and fixes them. I'm host Jack Culbertson. Here to suffer alongside me, as always, is also host Joe Nealis.
Hi.
Oh, geez. All the movies on DeRazzled won Worst Picture at the Razzies the year they were released. The Razzies, for those of you who don't know, are something of a reversed Oscars. They recognize the worst films of the year. Joe, how's it feel to be at the end of season 2?
Surreal.
Yeah.
It's been a long ride. We've done a shit ton this season.
Yeah, what the fuck?
I think part of it is, we did forget that we were going to institute a dark week every month for a while there.
We did forget to do that for a while.
So the season got kind of exhausting kind of quickly, and it was because we're both idiots.
That's fine.
We figured it out. We kind of made up for it and got some dark weeks in here at the end of the season.
Yeah. You've moved.
I moved. Becca and I bought a house, so now that's a thing.
I've been prepping for a surgery and fixing my brain.
Yeah.
I changed my pronouns around. And,
yeah.
It's hot here.
It's so fucking hot. Good Lord.
Just very busy a couple of weeks. But so yeah, very excited for what we have tonight, but also very excited to talk about what we have for next season.
Yes. Which stay tuned to the end of the next part, because or the end of part 2 of this episode, because there'll be a bunch of good goodies at the end of that.
Yes, all the candy and stuff. Where are you going? Where have you been?
Where do you come from? Where did you
go? So let's jump right in. By talking about the movie. We haven't actually said the movie yet.
That's true. I guess if you haven't been paying attention for a while, you may have forgotten what we're doing for this finale. The winner of the latest Razzie Awards was deservedly Blonde.
It very much was
a Netflix production that somehow also garnered a Best Actress nomination at the Oscars, and very clearly did not win that. Thank you, Michelle Yeoh, for saving us from that fate. But But yeah.
Yeah, if you haven't been keeping up with your DeRazzled lore, at the end of each season, we fix the winner of the worst Razzie of that year, or worst picture of that year. Last year, it was not Thunder Force.
Somehow.
And then this year, it was Blonde. Can't wait.
I will say real quick, I did, for some reason, end up watching Diana the Musical again.
Again?
Yeah. We wanted to show it to a friend who hadn't seen it just to torture them. We did remedy. They like musicals, so
Okay.
we did eventually remedy that with a viewing of Sundays in the Park with George, which
Cleanse the palate, yeah.
Yeah, kind of cleared the palate, but it was also weeks later. Yeah, he did not like Diana whatsoever.
You may also notice I have a bit of a cough. That's a mix of sleeping on the cold, wet ground for a week, and then the air quality of Pittsburgh is garbage.
Yeah, we've been getting hit hard with the Canadian wildfire smoke for quite a while. It's been better the past couple of days, but I think we even talked about this a little bit in our episode with Scott when we were talking about the strike.
I think so. Yeah, because Scott was like, right,
amateurs.
As well as lanternflies, got a lot of those. Definitely pulled one of those out of my mouth.
Ew! Oh
yeah.
God! Oh no, they're trying to infiltrate bodies now.
Yeah, it was rough.
That's horrible.
It took a final dive in my coffee, and I didn't see it, and felt each one of those little legs as I was pulling it up.
I'm just imagining as it gets into your coffee and watches you reach for the glass, just wringing its little legs, going.
Fuckers. So I would like to summarize Blonde for those of you who have not watched the 3-hour film.
It is so long.
It is very long.
It's so goddamn long. I real quick, while I'm pulling up a timer here for this, I do want to say one thing, just as a quick update to our last episode. So we mentioned that the Screen Actors Guild was in negotiations actively with the Alliance of Motion Picture and Television Producers. They have opted to extend the deadline on those negotiations. This contract was going to expire midnight on June 30th. They now have until July 12th to work something out. Apparently, talks have been productive. Things seem to be going in the right direction, at least according to the negotiators and Fran Drescher. Who I will remind you is the president of SAG.
I did it.
Yep.
Okay.
Yeah. It was bewildering when I learned that too. But over 1,000 actors have signed an open letter to SAG leadership saying, "Hey, if we don't get everything, we will fucking strike," including people like Jamie Lee Curtis, Brendan Fraser, Meryl Streep. Kinta Brunson, so many fucking people.
Like heavyweights.
Heavyweights. My God. There's some huge names on that list. So if there's been a change, I think because this episode is scheduled to come out July 11th, so if something has changed, I'll record it and tack it in right at the end of this bit, just so it's there. But that's where we are as of this recording on July 3rd.
Thank you for the update.
Of course.
So instead of providing a highly descriptive summary full of quips, we'll be playing a game, as you know, called Pavlovian Horses, wherein I'll have 5 minutes to summarize the movie and not a second more. Should the timer hit 5 minutes, Joe will blast me with horse sounds. Horses. They did not abuse Marilyn Monroe, and that makes them better than most people we'll be discussing today.
A weirdly complimentary moment for horses as we get into this game.
Season 2 finale. Horses ain't as bad as some people. Have I actually lost yet?
Once.
Okay.
You've lost one time. Jack, are you ready?
I am.
All right.
I am.
3, 2, 1.
Just gonna go ahead and put these glasses on.
Go.
All right. What was I doing again?
I tried to stall for you to put the glasses on.
Nah, it's all right. How you doing, Joe?
I'm good. The timer's going.
I know, it's fine. It was like what, a 3-hour movie? I can wrap that up.
Yeah, okay.
We're talking about what? Blonde?
Yep. That's the one.
The movie adaptation of the novel.
The Joyce Carol Oates novel, yes.
Also named Blonde.
Yes, same title.
Interesting.
Yeah.
You know what I'd rather talk about?
What would you rather talk about?
I'd rather talk about the Willem Dafoe Bad Art Short Film Festival.
You want to talk about that now?
I want to talk about it right now.
You want to get horsed for the sake of the Willem Dafoe Bad Art Short Festival?
I'll take it straight in the throat.
Oh no. They shoot barbs, Jack. That's a bad idea.
Good luck to you, horse. It's rough down there already. So we talked about some stuff we wanted to do with season 3, and something we landed on was putting on a short film festival.
Yes.
Which was inspired by this quote. I actually was able to find the quote. It's from an interview that you can find on YouTube called Off Camera with Sam Jones. So I'm going to read this quote by Willem Dafoe. Oh, they're foggy. Fuck. I always like the idea of trying to fail. Just think about it. Like, try to make bad art. Try to act badly. Try to be lousy in that scene. It's interesting. It kind of puts the idea of striving for perfection, it does something. You've got to find ways to let you not worry and be free, That's all. And if you, once again, we're talking about triggers, if you're content to fail or you accept it somewhere, and I only mention this because you talk about being hard on yourself, because the idea of being hard on yourself is kicking yourself for not doing better. So you got to deal with this striving impulse, which can hurt you. You need it enough to get you in movement and get you trying things, but you don't need so much that it suffocates you, that you're uptight. So from that quote, I fell in love with the idea of intentionally making bad art.
Yes.
For moving away from the pressure and the impulse to strive harder and to be perfect, to get closer to the joy of making the thing again. It's like, okay, well, I've already allowed myself to fail. Now I can do whatever the fuck I want.
Yes.
So we at DeRazzled want to throw a short film festival called the Willem Dafoe Bad Art Short Film Festival, in which people submit to us their shitty short films. From the date this airs, which you said, what, 11th?
The date of this episode will be the 11th, and part 2 will be the 18th.
So from the 18th, you'll have about 11 months to get us.
Yeah.
We'll give you an official deadline soon. We'll launch it on the site. We'll post it everywhere. You will not miss it.
It'll be the pinned comment at the top of our Twitter for as long as we have a Twitter.
Yeah. Yeah. But I want you, if you're an artist, if you're a filmmaker, if you're not a filmmaker, if you just want to get in art, they're coming, aren't they?
There's a minute 3. Yeah.
Okay. Fuck. Then we want to give you a reason to do it and have fun with it and not be scared to fail. You've already failed. The worst thing happened.
Yeah.
And you're fine.
Yeah.
Now make the art.
There's
a bunch of rules that we'll cover at the end of next.
Yeah, we'll cover everything more in depth at the end of next episode. I think you just wanted to kind of get the idea back out in the forefront here. And also
I'm
not
really
talk
excited about
this
it.
fucking movie.
Not at all. Oh, Marilyn was an actress. She used her sexual wiles to progress through old Hollywood. It didn't work out for her, and she's dead.
Damn it! You finished it with 20 seconds left.
JFK was in there, and who else was there? Her last movie was The Misfits. There you go.
Yeah, I think that's enough. She got married to Arthur Miller and also Joe DiMaggio, who was abusive to her. And 3, 2, 1. Yeah, I think that's enough to avoid horses.
Great. Really thought I was going to get the horse this time, but
yeah, I thought so
shit.
Too. I thought it was pretty much guaranteed, and then he shifted.
Yeah, I'm very, very excited for this. We will be doing our own short.
We will, yes.
This is a competition for the valued prize of a
Jack made this joke earlier this season. I didn't think he was serious, and he really went all in on it.
Listen, I value dedication to the bit.
Yes, as do I.
I followed it. I was like, okay, well, what's the prize going to be? Because we're poor. We can't give you money.
Yeah.
And I said, oh, a gift certificate to Chi-Chi's.
Chi-Chi's has not existed for like 30 years or something.
You might not even know what a Chi-Chi's is.
Yeah.
It was a like Applebee's level Mexican restaurant. I never actually ate there.
It's like Chili's, but kitschier.
Right, right. So I managed to find a Chi-Chi's gift certificate for return flight. It's a return flight tickets to, I assume, Mexico. The Mexico that you hold in your heart at Chi-Chi's.
That has to be what that means, right?
I think the tickets are good until 1985, so you have till then to use them. But
good luck.
Good luck. That is the prize you're fighting for.
I will add that there's not a submission fee or anything along those lines. That we're doing this purely for the fun and the art of it, and the Chi-Chi's of it all. So, So again, submissions will open up after July 18th. We'll have more information about rules and such and deadlines next episode. But there you go. Keep that in mind, and we hope y'all make some purposefully bad short films with us.
I'm excited.
We'll make Willem Dafoe proud.
He wants your bad art.
Yes.
Are you going to disappoint Willem Dafoe?
Do you want to disappoint Willem Dafoe?
Also,
I wouldn't.
It's a really short interview. It's only like 3 minutes long. Check it out. It's just like I read it, but like hearing him say it with his like excitement.
Yes.
It's so good.
Like he kind of relishes the idea of it. And you can really feel it in the interview.
It's pretty cool.
Yeah. I'll put a link to that in the episode description.
Please do. Oh, fuck me. I forgot the last 3 sentences of the quote.
Oh, did you?
I should have been horsed.
Oh, God.
What happens? Did I cheat the horses? Are they going to come for me like Final Destination?
Oh, no, they might come for you like Final Destination.
Shit. I was like, that's a weird place for that quote to stop. All right. It was on the next page. All right, well, let me read these 3 sentences.
Sure.
Damn, Jack. Well, I'm just saying, sometimes I flirt with the idea of fucking things up or not being hard on myself or, you put yourself in situations where you can't control things. And that's why people said, that's so risky, It's only risky if it's not risky. You know what I mean? Creepy yet endearing Willem Dafoe laugh here. It's a real risk. You're trying something. Something will happen. Something will be learned. It's risky if you know what it is. It's absolutely controlled. And if it's absolutely controlled, that's what will kill creativity. Don't kill creativity.
Please.
I think we'll still probably... we'll definitely still cover the Razzies next year.
Oh, yeah.
It just won't be the finale.
Yeah, no, I think we will likely... the festival and highlights of that will be the finale next year. But, this is just one of the ways in which we're growing and evolving and trying new shit.
Just one of the ways. We have a bunch of stupid
There's
shit
a bunch of
season.
stupid shit lined up for next year, including a lot of the stuff that is, our normal bread and butter.
Right, yeah, of course.
But just stay tuned.
That just felt like a good place to cover commercial.
Yeah, it's reasonable. All right, we'll be right back.
Hey, welcome back. We're here to talk about, for real this time, Blonde.
We're sorry.
We're sorry. So let's talk some numbers.
Sure.
Did you look at the numbers for Blonde Tomato score, God. IMDb, that kind of stuff?
I think I did whenever it was first being announced as a Razzie nominee, but it's been so long since then that I have no way of retaining that.
So what do you think its tomato meter score is?
I'm going to say it's like a 6.
I'm so sorry. It's so much higher than it deserves.
What? Really?
Yeah, it's still bad, but it's not like as abysmal as you think it would be. I'm mad about it personally.
Oh my God. Is it like a 20?
42.
Are you fucking kidding me?
Yeah. You know why, right?
42 because of Ana de Armas?
Yeah, because of Ana de Armas' performance.
Oh man, I don't know if it's that strong
it's
to pull
not.
it up that high. It's on the right side of 50, but it's not. It shouldn't be that close to the wrong side of 50.
Yeah, I adore her. That performance did not bring that movie up to a 42.
No.
That said, would you like to guess what the audience score is?
I know audiences are typically more forgiving, but I have a feeling that's not the case with this particular movie.
I would lean into that feeling.
Okay, this is like a 17.
I wish it's 34, so it's still like higher than it should be.
I cut it in half.
Keep in mind, there are a lot of boobies in this film.
There are some boobies in this film. That's
not as much as like Showgirls, but
no
more than.
But there's, I feel like the use of boobies in this film though is particularly uncomfortable and kind of gross.
Is, yeah.
It's just, this fucking movie.
IMDb out of 10.
IMDb out of 10. Okay, this is going to be some bonkers nonsense, isn't it?
Yeah, I'm not happy about it.
5.3.
Wow, 5.5.
Jesus Christ, are you kidding me?
Yeah. I would probably give this movie a flat 3. 3 out of 10.
2.5 tops.
I like a lot of the performances and a lot of the camera work. But holy shit, is that a bad story? Which we'll get to.
There's some interesting camera work. I'll give you that. But, oh God, it does not make up for the rest of it.
Wonderful. Let's talk about the Razzies.
Yes.
So this was the 43rd Annual Golden Raspberry Awards. Blonde was nominated for 8 Golden Raspberries, and it took home 2. There were a lot of shitty movies this year.
Yes.
And they had to kind of spread the Razzies around. So obviously it won Worst Picture.
Yep.
Do you know what the other category is that it won?
I want to say it was either Worst Director or Worst Screenplay. I'm leaning toward Worst Director, though.
Worst Screenplay.
Screenplay. Yeah. Okay.
That was written by Andrew Dominik, adapted from the quote-unquote bionovel by Joyce Carol Oates.
Bionovel is probably the best designation for it, because it's biographical, but it's also highly fictionalized and sensationalized and kind of gross.
Yeah.
And I usually have some tolerance for flowery language and whatnot, but my God, we'll get to it. Yeah. It's fine.
So you were right. It was nominated for Worst Director, but it lost to Machine Gun Kelly.
Oh, that's right.
Good Morning.
I forgot Machine Gun Kelly and Maud's son were nominated.
Oh,
for
yeah,
that.
Maud's son. My bad. Yeah, I don't want to take that award away from Maud's son. Sorry.
No, he can't lose this acclaim. I mean, he already lost his engagement to Avril Lavigne, if I'm not mistaken.
God. It was also nominated for Worst Supporting Actor and this was a weird one. I thought so anyway. Evan Williams, who played Eddie G. Robinson Jr.
There weren't there multiple nominations for Worst Supporting Actor for this?
I can double check, but I think it was just him.
I wasn't sure if
there were. Are you thinking of Worst Screen Combo? Because there was a fuck ton of
maybe that's what I was thinking. But yeah, well, let's continue.
Right. So there's a love triangle in the film. It didn't happen in real life, so it doesn't matter. But
this didn't happen in real life at all?
No.
Huh.
Which is weird because it's like one of the subplots I actually enjoyed. I'm like, oh, I kind of was interested in that subplot. Oh, it never happened? Oh, okay.
Great. Wonderful.
Yeah, it's too like... he was real. Like, Edgar G. Robinson Jr. existed, as did Charlie Chaplin Jr.
Yeah.
And I think they were buds, and were not the greatest people.
Sure.
But in the film, they have a love triangle with Marilyn, and... in real life,
it's almost a polyamorous relationship.
It's pretty. I was kind of into it. I'm like, oh, Jules and Jim, but blonde and not French. So it lost to Tom Hanks
for Worst Supporting Actor.
In Elvis.
I was going to say, because if I'm not mistaken, a lot of that had to do with the absurd accent that he put on for that film.
Tom, you don't have to do all these parts.
No,
you've done the act. You've done it. You can be a little more choosy.
Seriously, like you can kick back and just pick roles that you actually enjoy. Like this.
Yeah.
No, maybe he was really wanting to work with Baz Luhrmann. Who knows?
That is an actual possibility.
Yeah.
So there were several Worst Screen Combo nominations for Blonde. The first being Andrew Dominik, the director, and his issues with women.
Yes, yeah. This is one of the few times that the Razzies doing a Razzie thing like works.
Yeah, I'm like, you know what? I don't disagree.
Yeah.
It was also nominated for both real life characters, Marilyn Monroe and JFK, in a fallacious White House bedroom scene.
Yeah.
They both lost to Tom Hanks and his latex-ridden face and that ludicrous accent.
Yeah. Again,
fair enough. And then the last nomination it received was for worst remake, ripoff, or sequel. Apparently, they're considering the 2000 CBS TV film, also named Blonde, to be the original take on this. I didn't look too much into it because like watching an adaptation of that book once was way more than enough.
I had no idea there was another adaptation of this. That's kind of wild.
We'll get to it.
Okay.
The winner, however, was Pinocchio. No, not the Del Toro version.
That version's awesome. I don't care what anyone says.
But they specifically say Pinocchio, not the Del Toro version.
Not the Del Toro version. Yeah, I mean, you have to specify because there were two Pinocchios that year.
That wildly different adaptations of the same topic, and one of them was terrible.
Yeah, one of them had a bizarre Tom Hanks in it, and the other had Tom Kenny voicing Mussolini. And the latter is my favorite.
You would think maybe... No, it was the Mussolini one. Yeah, it was the better one.
It just genuinely was. It's so good.
Absolutely gorgeous film.
Yes. I'm excited for all the animation nonsense that Del Toro wants to get up to, because he has recently claimed that he's got like a couple more live action projects in him, but then he wants to spend the rest of his career doing animation.
Yeah, I read that, and it's a little bit of a bummer because I like his live action.
Oh, I love his live action stuff, but also like I want to see what the fuck he can really get up to with this.
Yeah, same. Well, that brings us to critiquing this turd.
Oh boy.
Yep. I am also super excited. What worked for cast?
I mean, arguably Ana de Armas, even though when I first heard her announced as playing Marilyn Monroe, my first thought was, what?
She did receive some flack for keeping her, I think, Cuban accent.
Did she?
She did.
Yeah. I don't remember that. It's been a little while since I've watched the movie, to be fair, but
I drank bleach afterwards.
That's
DeRazzled brand bleach. Yum yum. Just forget.
Jesus wept.
Yeah, she did, but it's not an overwhelming accent to begin with.
Right. Like I've never thought of her as having a particularly thick accent, so it's I don't know. I felt like she was doing like the breathy, like Marilyn voice that people are used to hearing whenever they think of her. But I don't recall any moments that really stood out as her Cuban accent.
Right. Yeah, she definitely did the Marilyn voice.
Yeah. She
just had a Cuban accent.
All right.
Again, you didn't notice it. It's very...
I have no recollection of it.
Overall, I really liked the cast and their performances, including Ana de Armas as Marilyn.
Yeah.
Some that I wrote down that I liked in particular was Adrian Brody as Norman Mailer.
Arthur Miller.
Arthur Miller.
Yeah.
Different people.
Yes. I did like Adrian Brody in this a lot, actually. I thought he did a pretty good job. I'd even argue Bobby Cannavale as Joe DiMaggio, or I'm sorry, the ex-athlete. I think he did a pretty good job as well, even though he's given, a poorly written domestic violence situation to wade around in.
See, he was one of the actors. So there were three actors I didn't care for, which we'll get to,
and he was one of them. Okay,
yeah.
Well, we'll get to why when we get to that part. But
I liked the. So it's the 4th of July tomorrow. If you hear any fireworks in the background,
they're just happening. Yeah. I'll try to trim them where I can, but
it doesn't matter.
Yeah.
So again, I liked the love triangle, the Jules and Jim subplot that never happened. So I liked Xavier Samuel as Cass and Evan Williams as Eddie.
I did enjoy them as well, actually. They like the whole situation felt weird, but I liked the way they portrayed it.
It was like a short film inside of a full-length film.
Kinda, yeah.
That I was more invested in than the larger plot.
Yeah.
And then I always have to call out Toby Huss, who played Whitey, Marilyn's assistant.
I do like a good Toby Huss.
Yeah.
That's
Character actor, tends to do smaller parts, but always knocks them out of the park.
Always a delight to see.
Yeah.
Yeah.
If you want to see more Toby Huss, you can watch either *Halt and Catch Fire*, which he has a sizable role in, very good, or as what's the character's name in Venture Brothers? Copycat.
Wait, he was Copycat?
He was Copycat.
That wasn't just Jackson?
Nope. Not according to the fan page. Voices Toby Huss voices Tracer, Copycat, and
Scaramantula.
And Scaramantula, yeah.
Huh. Wild. Okay, I didn't realize that was him.
I didn't realize he was Artie from Pete and Pete.
He was Artie from Pete and Pete. Oh my god.
I had no idea.
Yep. Okay.
Hollywood, hire this guy. He's good. He's real good. He's a real good
use
dude.
him more.
Use him more. Always enjoy him.
Use more Toby Huss.
Yeah. Anything else we want to say about the cast that worked?
No.
Fair. What worked for you with the story? As I've said, I really enjoyed the love triangle that never happened.
I'm upset that didn't happen because like that is played like such a like pivotal like formative thing in her life in both the book and the film, and for that to be completely fucking fabricated.
There's
sucks.
a lot in this that is important to the plot that never happened.
What are we even doing? Like just,
that quote, cut that out and keep that for later.
All right.
What are we even doing? Agreed.
The cast chaplain Eddie G, Marilyn, like Gemini's, like love, like triad or whatever the hell it is. I did enjoy those parts of the film. I enjoyed the kind of sense of alienation that you got from like her as this orphan coming from this broken, abusive household, joining, like falling in love with this like troubled son of a Hollywood icon.
Yeah.
And also Eddie's here.
Who is also the son of a Hollywood icon, but not quite the same as Charlie Chaplin.
Talk about it, really.
Yeah.
Like,
they mention? So it's the children of Edgar G. Robinson, who was like in a lot of film noir, and then Charlie Chaplin, who was Charlie Chaplin.
Yeah.
Yeah. Which one of them died early? I think it might have been Charlie Chaplin's son.
I think it was Cass. Yeah, I'm fairly certain it was Cass. Yeah, I felt like that was some of the most poignant, like emotionally gripping work in the film. Even if it felt like a little over the top in some ways, definitely used for gratuitous sexual photography throughout.
Absolutely.
But yeah, no, I think that was probably the part of it that I enjoyed the most.
And that love triangle is important because it leads us up to we're gonna have so many content warnings for this episode. The first of the many miscarriages / abortions. Which I think was the first part of the film, the first hour of the film, I didn't hate because it's her growing up as an orphan, kind of, sort of, her kind of getting into the business and then having the love triangle. I think like her very early life as depicted, I thought was powerful. Like the like seeing what her as a child had to deal with with how sick her mother was, the complete absence of her father. The scene that I visually enjoyed the most was her mother taking her to see her supposed biological father, getting stopped
when to show her the picture of him.
Right.
Yeah.
And then gets stopped by the cops because there's a fire happening.
Yes.
And like everything's burning around them, and she goes back in the house, and it's a lot of like child abuse. It's not great. But visually it's really cool. And some of the more factual stuff, which was nice.
Yeah. more. I mean, I like more factual
Yeah.
details in this biography.
Yeah.
But I guess you're gonna disillusion me of everything that was.
Pretty much, yeah. I mean, there's a reason that in the book they don't use a lot of names. They use a lot of like the ex-athlete,
The playwright.
the playwright.
Uh-huh.
Yeah.
Yeah, because Joyce Carol Oates would have been sued straight to hell.
Right. God, what was the thing you messaged me earlier? The like,
The detail about her agent.
yeah.
We'll talk about that later.
Okay. Yeah.
Yeah.
There's some choices Joyce made that
I
don't
guess,
feel great.
Content warnings just generally for sexism, domestic abuse, sexual abuse, miscarriages, abortions, ableism.
I'm not laughing because it's funny. I'm laughing because the next thing we're talking about is themes, and you're just basically listing off themes.
Oh, I skipped ahead. I'm sorry.
Right. Yeah. In theme, I wouldn't say I like them, but I would think that they are effective. One of the themes is that Hollywood was terrible at that time. Very effective.
Yeah, it really does highlight like what a cesspool it was for a woman to just to exist in that system.
Yeah.
Which, I mean, Hollywood is an utter mess. It pretty much always has been. It continues to be. Whether it's horrible sexist things, whether it's coercion and manipulation of people into doing terrible things they don't want to do, whether it's horrible labor practices, whether it's literal fires, like the one that was apparently took place on the WB lot earlier this week. Or within the past week. Oh, you didn't see that?
No.
Oh, yeah, there were a bunch of tweets saying that the Animaniacs had selected a new pope.
That's really good.
Yeah, it was just a shot of the hangar that says Barbie along the side. And there's just black smoke coming up from it. So
I missed that one.
It might. Who knows? Maybe it was an Oppenheimer marketing scheme, but
well, it worked. I'm gonna go see that. Absolutely. The anime. New pope. Okay. That's good shit.
I thought you'd enjoy that.
Yeah.
I can't take credit for coming up with that. I did find that on Twitter from somewhere, but it bears repeating because it was damn funny.
So yeah, I mean, there's all of my noir fans out there know this already. Mm-hmm. Hollywood was a terrible place from the beginning.
I'm struggling to remember. Did Robert Mitchum come up at all in the movie?
No, I don't believe so.
I didn't think he did because he comes up in the book.
Really?
Yes. Specifically, he worked with Marilyn's first husband, Bucky.
Yes.
Who I don't think they talk about in the movie at all.
Very briefly.
Very briefly, yeah. So he worked with Bucky, and Bucky was the kind of guy who would take scandalous photos of his wife with her consent, and then share them with the guys at work without her knowledge.
This is Bucky taking pictures of Marilyn and then show. Okay.
Yeah. Well, Robert Mitchum was his supervisor, and apparently he gave him what for, which he told Marilyn about at her agent's funeral years and years and years later.
What a weird connection.
It's bizarre. I will say I did not finish the audiobook, but that was a detail that just like really stuck out to me. It's like, holy fuck, what? Like,
that's really strange. I've always known Robert Mitchum for his like almost like rough and gruff attitude. So it doesn't surprise me that he told her at the funeral. It does surprise me that he like gave him one for.
He claimed, at least according to Joyce Carol Oates.
Oh, right. Yeah, this could all be
complete bullshit. Yeah, it's possible this never fucking happened.
Fuck Joyce.
Yeah,
come on.
I know. At least she's not a TERF.
That's her one.
That's her one shining win. But according to her, she like came up to her, or he came up to her at this funeral, said his condolences for her loss, told her not to let the studio get her down, to give him hell like he does, and then also, I actually know, he referred to her as Norma without ever having actually met her before, and he goes, I actually know you from a way back because I worked with your ex-husband. He was doing this thing until I gave him what for.
And she's
just kind of like, wait, come again? What?
Yeah. If that did happen. It's an interesting side quest.
It was also like this is also like immediately after like a nude photo shoot that she had done before becoming a movie star had like gotten leaked because like I guess the photographer had died and people found it in his effects or something. And
Which
the
kind of happened.
And the studios were like, "Hey, what the fuck?"
That kind of sort of happened in real life.
Okay.
Except for it was Hugh Hefner, and he paid like $200 for her photos and created Playboy.
Okay.
Like they were old photos from when she was still Norma Jean.
Uh-huh.
But I think he paid like $200 for them. Marilyn had then obviously gone on to become Marilyn.
Marilyn, yeah.
And she's on the cover of the first Playboy.
Weird.
Yeah.
Gross.
It gets grosser.
It's Hugh Hefner, I believe that.
Right. So Marilyn is buried in a kind of like mausoleum type thing. Are you familiar with this story?
I vaguely remember, but enlighten the listeners.
Am I using the right word? Mausoleum type dealy-do?
Mausoleum is like a building with where it has like several graves within it. Like it's like you're not interred in the ground. You're interred in like a drawer or like a cubby.
Right. Where you go to smoke pot and have sex.
Often, yeah. Like the one with the titty sphinx out here.
The titty sphinx. The famous Pittsburgh titty sphinx.
Yeah, constant sight of pot smoking and stray beer cans.
Yeah, none of that is a joke.
No, none of that was all real.
So she is buried in one of those, and I think directly to her right is Hugh Hefner.
Because he paid to be buried next to her.
To be buried next to her.
What a fucking weirdo.
It's also the person above her paid to be buried face down, as though in death they are having the sex.
You're dead.
And disgusting.
And you're just dead and extra gross.
Yeah.
It's all you are, you piece of shit. God.
It's, yeah. Yep. So the theme of Hollywood sucks, and women had a pretty rough, bad time.
Effective theme.
Effective and conveyed.
I don't agree with a lot of the ways it was conveyed.
Sure.
But can't argue with the fact that it was true.
Production.
You mentioned the camera work. There was some genuinely solid camera work throughout some of this movie. There was also some like bewildering camera work at some points in this movie.
A lot of choices.
Yes.
And I appreciate when somebody makes some bold choices, even when they don't work.
I do like that. I do like that they weren't. They didn't make safe, boring choices with the camera work. It wasn't just like straight up like on sticks stationary the entire time.
In particular, the kind of fire scene at the beginning I really enjoyed.
Yeah, no, that was really, really well executed.
Honestly, the only camera work I didn't care for was the CGI stuff that we'll get to.
Okay, fair.
Yeah. The score was fine. The lighting was very cool. I liked a lot of the lighting.
I will say the lighting was solid. I will give this movie that. The lighting, well done.
I think
I don't remember the score enough.
In the first hour, there was a lot of cues that I remember thinking, I like that. And then I forgot what it was because everything after that was awful.
Fair.
But Marilyn Monroe is one of the most photographed people in history.
Yeah. Oh, absolutely.
And they recreate a lot of those moments with Ana de Armas.
Yes. They kind of go out of their way in some cases to recreate some
almost
of those
like
moments.
Too much so.
Which we'll cover. I have a thought about that for what didn't work in the production,
sure. But I think they were successful in visually recreating them.
I'd agree with that. Yeah, the staging of those moments was solid. Like you could, especially with how quickly those moments kind of go in the film. It's easy to see that and kind of think like, oh, holy shit, that was just Marilyn.
Yeah.
Which I think is partially to the credit of just how good they made, how well they made her look like Marilyn Monroe. Like I was not expecting Ana de Armas to actually look that much like Marilyn Monroe. Like, it just didn't. It didn't occur to me they'd be able to like work that well.
So you may know Ana de Armas from
Knives Out.
Knives Out and Blade Runner 2049. She's also been in a fuck ton of foreign films because she started there first, and I have not watched any of them.
Nor have I. No, I specifically know her from Knives Out.
Yeah.
I know she also recently did a movie with Ben Affleck.
Yeah, but it didn't do well.
No, it did not.
So I think now's a good time to take our second break, and then when we come back, we'll talk about what didn't work.
I think that's a reasonable thing to do with this one. Not normally how we break things up,
right.
But oh, buddy, this fucking movie. We'll be right back.
Here we are. Welcome back. Studio politics. Wowie wow. JFK. My dude.
Oh boy.
Don't meet your role models. I can't. He's dead.
Nope.
Famously very dead. Hey, we're DeRazzled, and we're going to talk about what didn't work in the movie Blonde.
Yup, we sure are.
Starting with the cast. I did not like their JFK.
No, I didn't like their JFK either.
Do you want to hear something fun?
Sure.
This is not his first time being JFK.
Wait, really?
Yeah, he's been JFK. The actor, Casper Philipson, has been JFK twice before. Once in the movie Jackie, which I think is Natalie Portman.
Yeah, I believe so.
And then another short film.
He's been. This was his JFK hat trick.
You want to know what's really weird is if you look up a picture of him just being himself, he looks like JFK. But in the movie, he does not look like JFK.
No, honestly, I saw it when they showed him in the movie, and I was like, that's not.
I had to be like, wait, are they trying to go for JFK or are they trying to go for Bobby? But in real life,
fair question.
He looks like. I don't know what they did to make him look not like JFK, but they did it. I mean, his stuff is really, really short, and one of my obsessions is reading about like JFK in the 60s and the civil rights movement, everything around that era.
Sure.
So I might be a little biased, but I did not care for that scene.
No, it was a bad scene. It was a bad, shocking, gross.
Yeah. They essentially imply that JFK not I don't want to say forced, but forced Marilyn Monroe to perform fellatio while he was on the phone with, I'm assuming, the Kremlin. I don't know.
He's on some sort of diplomatic call, laying in a hotel bed.
Right.
Because are they in the White House?
I think it might be the White House.
Oh, maybe the White House bed. I don't know. It is. And like the extreme close up on her,
right,
as she is just like gagging on him, is
so. Famously, Marilyn Monroe sang "Happy Birthday" to JFK.
Yes,
there is no record as to what happened, but as far as like if you look at like flight plans and stuff, it's likely that if they did have any kind of interaction sexually, it was just that night. And then likely never saw each other again. It was actually Robert Kennedy that she had an affair with for a lengthier time.
See, I didn't know that.
Yeah. Not to spoil the book for you, but I do know how it ends. Do you want me to spoil the book for you?
Yeah. Oh, God. Sorry. I just looked up Casper Philipson. Yeah, you're right. He actually does.
Yeah, it's weird, right?
I can see it. He does look like JFK, but you're right.
No.
Like, he doesn't fucking feel like JFK in this fucking movie. It's weird. Oh, yeah. My God.
They were trying to show, like, a more sickly version of JFK, which he was very sick.
He was. It is a matter of historical record that he was constantly racked in pain.
Addison's disease.
That's it. Yeah, he had like horrible back problems. Like he was a mess.
And what I did like about that scene is they have kind of it looks like a brace or something for his back, I assume.
And I didn't notice this. We talked about this before we started recording. What the fuck are you talking about? I don't remember that at all.
It was red meat flavored or colored, not flavored.
Now, you see, Mr. President, if you ever find yourself where you're feeling particularly hungry and you can
just take a bite out of this corset.
You just rip off this corner here, and just little by little you can just kind of eke your way around that.
So you're
around
saying
the boning
this is jerky.
You packaged me into some jerky there.
Jesus fuck. Are we canceled now?
Jack, it's gonna take more than that.
Fuck.
Have you learned nothing? Clone High season 2 dropped this year. That's just
words I didn't think I'd ever hear, but yeah.
No.
Yeah, so the reason he was like, they described JFK as glowing was because he had Addison's disease. It made him have like a more orange complexion.
Okay.
And they like overdo that in Blonde. They like make him like not quite orange, not quite red, but he's sickly. Mm-hmm. And they made the brace match that color.
And that was completely lost on me because the entire scene's so fucking blue-gray.
Yeah.
It's just...
Subtlety was nowhere to be seen in that scene. You know who else I didn't care for?
Who?
Gillian Nicholson, who played Gladys Pearl Baker, her mother.
Her mother. I had a feeling Mom was going to be on this list for you.
I have since read a little bit more about Marilyn's actual mother.
Yeah.
Like, my problem with the performance is that it felt too big.
It was over the top.
It felt like she was acting in a different style than everybody else. But also, her mother did suffer from a lot of mental illness, a lot of alcoholism. The reason that Marilyn was in and out of foster homes and orphanages was because her mother could not either mentally take care of her or financially take care of her. It's also something that happened way more in the 30s, or I guess earlier.
My understanding is it was a not at all uncommon occurrence. I mean, especially through the Depression and whatnot. Yeah. Like it was fucking hard for people to actually care for their families,
right,
and get the resources they needed to survive, and stay together. It was fucking hard.
But as her mental health deteriorated, and we kind of see this really briefly in the movie, they don't explain it real well.
No, not at all.
Marilyn does end up living with a relative of some variety. What they don't tell you in the movie is that they were deeply evangelical.
Yeah, that's not covered in the film at all.
And basically taught her that the TV was the devil. Music was the devil. And she went back and forth between living with them, and I think it was an aunt. Don't quote. There's probably some like Marilyn
like aficionado,
listening to this and just pulling their hair out. This movie did succeed in making me want to watch more actual Marilyn Monroe movies.
Which is saying something. Yeah. I'd say that's a positive thing.
Because as of right now, I've watched Asphalt Jungle, which was a smaller film for her.
That was like her breakout role, right?
I think it was actually All About Eve.
Oh, okay.
Which she has a very small part in, but she looks like Marilyn Monroe, so people noticed.
See, I'm mostly basing my question there off of the book, because it's Asphalt Jungle that Oates positions as like the movie where she had a very small part, but everyone's like, hey, who's the blonde?
Right. And I could be wrong. I think
we know for a fact she could be wrong.
Yes. My understanding is people noticed her in All About Eve because of being foxy, and then they noticed that she could actually maybe act because of Asphalt Jungle.
Maybe that's it. Okay. I don't remember her mentioning All About Eve, but then again, the audiobook's abridged, so it could have just been glazed over.
So there is not an unabridged version of the audiobook. Thank God.
I can only imagine the torture that would be.
Yeah.
Because I'm about 10 chapters into the audiobook, and it hurts.
It's like an 8-hour audiobook, which is not bad.
Yeah, no, I've listened to longer audiobooks that did not feel like the slog that this one feels like. It's just, it genuinely is like just weighed down with like needless poetic asides about death. And like normally it'd be like, hell yeah, go ahead.
Right, yeah.
Go off on that. Like, but like
super. So the only other story I've read by Joyce, I'm calling her Joyce because we're going to have a word later, is the short story, Where Are You Going, Where Have You Been?
Yes. Oh, okay, right. And you'd mentioned wanting to reread that for this.
Yeah, and I did.
Okay.
It's some of her early work, she's one of those writers that's like writes a fuck ton of shit.
Yeah.
Like not quite to the level of Stephen King, but close.
She's very prolific.
Yeah.
Yeah. She has a very big catalog at this point.
But this was one of the stories that people noticed her for. And it was based on, I forget the true crime event, but it was based on a true crime story that was big at the time. I still liked it. It did this second time around, because I kind of already know what's going to happen, kind of drag. And we'll get to why that kind of irritated me in a second, because we had mentioned, how do you say his name? Bobby Cannavale. Yeah. You enjoyed his performance.
You did not.
Did not.
Yeah, you mentioned you did not. What didn't you like about his performance?
It felt very two-dimensional to me.
I guess I can kind of see that.
If this was my first time seeing this actor, I probably would have enjoyed it. But since I've seen him play this character,
that's fair. It is a little bit samey compared to a lot of the other roles that he's played. Like there's like, I hate to invoke Thunder Force.
I know.
But I mean, he was the main villain in Thunder Force, and like there are moments where his DiMaggio almost has that kind of menace behind him, and it's just like I don't know. But then like there are the more heartfelt moments, like where they're early on in their relationship, and it feels I feel like he does exhibit some warmth and some his attraction to her feels genuine.
So he, in real life, Joe DiMaggio, he did, I think, I'm going to say allegedly, was abusive.
We can say allegedly on that. Yeah, I don't know the specifics of DiMaggio's life or actions beyond being a baseballman.
Right. Yeah. Well, I think he was retired at that time.
Yes. Yeah. Hence being the ex-athlete.
Right.
Yeah.
It was kind of a situation of like, oh, Marilyn went. It wasn't. I think in the film he finds her nudes. Is that what?
Yes. It's partially he finds her nudes, or somebody sends him.
Oh, sends it. Right.
Cass and Eddie.
That's right.
Kind of slip him the nudes, if I'm not mistaken.
These characters that never interacted with Marilyn.
Yeah, these guys that never had any relevance to her life. Yeah. I think that's what. I think I remember that happening in the film that way.
I think you're right.
Yeah. So that happens. And then also, this also coincides with the train grate upskirt moments.
Famous Marilyn Monroe, where her skirt gets blown up by the
the subway grate.
Right.
The wind coming up from there. Yeah. That all kind of coincides and crescendos into him beating her.
Right. So the night where she was allegedly abused, which I'm going to say I think happened.
Okay.
It was that night. It was that after filming that scene.
Yeah.
You can't really tell in the movie, but the set was packed. Like they knew they were going to shoot this scene. They knew it was going to be a big deal. It was packed.
Yeah.
I assume because the studio probably wanted to have the press.
So in the book, Oates mentions that they or suggests that they had shot a version of this out on the streets and gotten an on-site shot of this, and then they recreated it in the studio, and that was the take that was used in the film.
Okay. Yeah, I can see that.
But
again,
you can take that with like a margarita's worth of salt.
Yeah.
I don't know what's true.
Blonde is fiction with some sprinkles of truth.
Yes.
It was like the skeleton, the outline of truth.
And then there's a bunch of meat that is lies.
Yeah.
Stapled to it.
Yeah. So I say that I don't think Joe DiMaggio was a good person. I think he was an abusive, shitty husband.
Okay.
And also of her former husbands or lovers or whoever, he was the person that like made sure she got a proper funeral, made sure that I think her mother who outlived her.
Oh, see, I didn't realize that.
I think so. Don't quote me on that. I don't want to be James Joyce Carol Oates.
Joyce Carol Oates.
Ooh, boy.
That's fun.
Weird novel.
This is a weird version of Finnegan's Wake.
But like until he died, he like would drop flowers off it. Her mausoleum with fucking Hugh Hefner, I guess.
Are we sure he wasn't leaving them for Hefner?
Hefner died after.
Fuck.
Yeah.
Okay. Well, I mean,
Yeah.
there's something to be said for that, I suppose.
Yeah. People are complicated.
People are complicated.
Yeah.
That's very true. Yeah.
I just looked at what's next. So what themes didn't work?
Oh, we're skipping story?
Oh, whoops. Yeah, no, let's do story. Let's talk about that. So you mentioned earlier that why even do this?
What are we even doing here?
Right.
It's the fact that it is so much. Apparently, so much of it is just fabricated, is just exaggerated, sensationalized.
I'll get into this for the fix, but I think that it would have been if it was just either all fiction, and they do say Marilyn's name in the book, right? Or is it just all implied? Because they leave a lot of names out.
I mean, they say Norma Jean Baker.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah. So that is very clearly supposed to be Marilyn Monroe, Norma Jean.
Yeah.
I wish that Joyce Carol Oates had just written a fictional novel inspired by the shitty things that happened to.
Just make it an original story that's an homage.
Yeah.
Different characters, different circumstances, but taking inspiration from these events. You can do that. It's maybe
it was very half and half.
Yeah, it's like you wanted to do a biography, but you also wanted to do an original piece, and you just kind of sandwich them together. And you thought it was going to be peanut butter and chocolate that you were mashing together, but
peanut butter and sandpaper.
It is peanut butter and sandpaper. Yeah, it was kind of that.
It's rough.
Two great tastes that out of my mouth.
So it's hard to look at the story, knowing that it's hard to look at the story of Blonde and not just kind of brush it off.
Yeah.
I mean, there's truths in it. She did try to find her father.
Yes.
And actually, really, really, really recently, 2022, they did they did a test, and the person that her mother said was her father was in fact her father.
Oh, so there's actual confirmation. She wasn't.
Yes.
Her mother wasn't just making that up.
Correct.
Okay.
Which I don't know, kind of interesting.
Yeah.
But he never was in contact with her.
So the letter that she received didn't happen.
Correct. Although, and tell me if I'm wrong, I feel like that was implied that was Cass writing it as her father. Either way, it didn't happen. So
I don't remember that detail well enough. Very well could have been, considering how fucky he got with some of her life around that time.
Yeah.
But
either way, there was no contact from her father to her. She also famously had a really hard time. She wanted a child, was unable to have one. In the movie, there's a lot of abortion stuffs and miscarriages stuffs, and it's all very graphic.
Oh my god, yeah, the entire scene where she ends up getting her abortion,
the one where she's tricked into it, or the nightmare. They're both horrible.
I guess tricked into it, because she realizes what's going on and that she doesn't want it when she sees a stop sign.
Yeah, that lets you know, stop, don't have an abortion, because that's how stop signs work.
And then she kicks her way off of the operating table and then runs away.
Yeah.
And it
man, I can't wait to have surgery on Wednesday.
I know. Well, don't look at any stop signs. Just
right. Eyes down, no stop signs.
Eyes down, no stop signs. Don't kick and try to get loose from your captors. I mean, medical staff.
Right.
And you should be fine.
All right, cool. Yeah, don't kick medical staff. Got it. So the two spines that they set out to, the two tragedies that run through her entire life, are either fake or super over the top.
Okay. So which is which?
Her interactions with her father were fake.
Those are fake. Okay.
And then the stuff with her abortion. So there's no proof that she did. she did have miscarriages. That's documented. She also became one of the earliest proponents for like women's rights, specifically in Hollywood. Like that, we'll get to this as well. But like, there's a lot of stuff that she did that was very positive that they left out entirely.
Why? I'd like to know.
I'm glad you asked. This movie is misery porn.
Thank you. Yes, it very much is.
That is why she only fails.
Yeah. And she can't even enjoy her successes.
Right.
The book is like that too. Like it very much suggests that she was wildly anxious about how she's performing and what she's doing and how she looks. It's so often that she's almost in a catatonic state until like months after the thing, and then she sees it on just like going off on her own. It's like, oh, that was actually good. And it's like, you don't know any of that.
Right.
You can't know this internal monologue of this person.
I mean, she did not have an easy life. That we can tell.
Sure.
But it wasn't misery from start to finish. There's this like sub-genre that I've dubbed misery porn. I'm not the first person to do that, but
right.
And it reminds me of a play that we did in college called Violet Sharp.
I remember that name. I don't think I saw the show.
It was about the, I think, maid to Charles Lindbergh.
Who?
Well, we're not going to get into his history. There's already enough bullshit there.
Sure.
But his son was famously kidnapped.
Yes. The Lindbergh baby.
Yeah. What was it, like the crime of the century? Or I can't remember.
I think that term was bandied about.
Yeah. Well, she was one of the suspects, and this play basically says she didn't do it, but was treated miserably and tortured for, however long the play lasts, and then it ends with her dying.
Wow.
Yeah. Misery porn.
Misery porn.
It also reminds me of a movie called Midori, which I like to bring up so that people might go and check it out and hurt themselves. I discovered recently a live action version. Wink. The version I watched was animated.
Okay.
It's banned in most countries.
That bad, huh?
Yeah, it's pretty bad. I mean, don't actually watch it, but if you do want to ruin your brain, that's the one to watch. But it's misery porn. It's a little girl who's sold into a sideshow with the worst human beings in like I think it's feudal Japan.
So it's an extreme P.T. Barnum situation.
It's like if all of P.T. Barnum was run by psychotic rapists and
Yeesh.
sexual deviants.
No thanks.
Yeah, no, don't watch it. Don't watch it.
I'm good.
But it's just like, I watched it because I was interested in seeing an evil circus for one. That's my thing.
That tracks. Yeah.
And you said it was banned? All right.
Yeah.
It's animated?
Even better.
Nice.
Yeah.
Okay.
It's checking some boxes for you.
It's checked the boxes, and then I watched it, and it broke me a little bit as a human being.
Yeah. See, this was a trap set for you.
It was.
Jack.
It was. And that's why, like, the live action version, I'm like, I'm not interested.
Yeah. There's not going to be less of a trap.
No. I do remember watching it at work specifically, because that was also part of the thrill.
Oh, no.
And closing my laptop, and Aaron sitting across me, he's like, you okay?
No.
Like, no. I've seen some shit. Anyway, that's all to say, I don't like misery porn. I like my protagonists to be able to be an active participant in their lives.
Yeah. This is not how you do tragedy.
No. You can only hurt a character so often before I'm like, I'm no longer invested in this character.
Yeah.
Like, I'm not enough of a sadist to enjoy watching this character get hurt for 3 fucking hours.
It's absurd.
Yeah. And not actually what happened.
Yeah.
Like, I could see the argument being made if there was literally not a happy moment in Marilyn Monroe's life, but there were.
There's several. They touch on the fact that there are some in the film. I mean, like, her marriages were not entirely terrible. She at least the way they depict it, clearly there was some deep love between her and Arthur Miller.
Yeah. I mean, that relationship ultimately failed. It soured.
Yeah.
But they didn't even cover like the interesting parts of it coming to an end, which is weird. He was like writing a script for her. It might have been the Misfits, but don't quote me on that.
Mm-hmm.
And it was meant to be like, here, I'm giving this to you as a gift. It's a part that you've always wanted to play, as meaning like not a dumb, ditzy piece of shit.
Something you can sink your teeth into as an actor. Yeah.
Because, God, I had such like a weird theater person moment where I was watching an actual documentary, and they brought up like Strasberg, and I was like, ooh, Strasberg. Yeah. I was like, yes, Strasberg. I'm like, Jack, what are you doing? But
Stanislavski.
Yeah. So like she was not even just trained, she was trained by some of the best. And she just wanted a chance to show what she could do.
Yeah.
Like she liked acting, but that's not what the big studios wanted.
No.
But since their relationship was souring, her and Arthur Miller, he started to back the character away from what he promised, which was this like meaty role, to writing her in the way that she'd always played. Anyway, men aren't always great.
No.
Do you want to talk about the CGI fetus?
I mean, we have to talk about the fetus, because both the CGI fetus and its apparent telepathic abilities.
Yeah, it got kind of X-Men-y there for a minute.
Yeah, kind of. Yeah, so every single time she's pregnant, there are these cutaways to this thorough CG rendering of developing fetus.
You know what made me mad is I watched The Flash recently, and the CGI was shittier in The Flash than it was in this.
Get the fuck out of here. Are you kidding me?
You can tell there's some scenes. It's not all shit, but there's some scenes where I'm like, oh, you didn't pay these people enough, or you had them work insane hours, and the product is not great.
The forever plague that is Hollywood superhero films at this point. Okay.
Yeah. I'm like, this fetus was rendered better. God damn it.
That's bonkers.
Yeah.
That hey, James Gunn, fix that. Stop doing this.
Yeah. The thing I didn't like about that story-wise was they act as though each of her pregnancies, the fetus, is the same entity.
Yeah, which is a buck wild assertion to make.
It becomes the character baby.
Yes.
Is referred to as baby.
And that is from the book as well. Like every time she's pregnant, she refers to it as baby. Same way she refers to all her partners as daddy.
Yeah. I think that part of that was true, but they really drove that home.
It felt like, okay, maybe this is a thing that happened, but like they beat that to death.
Yeah.
Like,
not that like there's absolutely nothing wrong with that.
Sure.
It's just that they wanted to have that theme. Mm-hmm. It's like, she's looking for her dad.
She's looking for her dad. Yeah, they wanted to hammer home the daddy issues thing.
We got it. Thank you.
No, yeah, we fucking know. We fucking know, Andrew.
God damn it.
I mean, the worst of it though, I mean, because like the fetus appears at different stages, and like in some pregnancies where it's just like not viable, it looks wrecked.
Yeah.
Like that fetus looks like it's deteriorating in certain ways, or is malformed in certain ways. It's uncomfortable.
Can you imagine being the visual artist, or I don't know what the name is.
Yeah, visual artist is who
had to work on that for like 7 months.
Sober? No.
Right. Yeah, no, that's definitely got a drink for that one.
Yeah. But it all comes to a head when she's pregnant with with her and Arthur Miller's kid, before the miscarriage that takes place there, and the fetus telepathically communicates with her, asking, "You're not going to hurt me like the last one, are you?"
Because she had an abortion.
Because she had an abortion. So we have to make this pregnancy moralistic about abortion and the right to life, I guess.
Yeah, weird turn.
It's a needless turn. Like, this serves no real purpose outside of like trying to shoehorn in some weird pro-life Catholic guilt shit. Like, It is disgusting on a level that I have not encountered in film. And
you know what's sucks is I actually like a movie quite a lot by Andrew Dominik.
Really?
Called Killing Them Softly. However,
I didn't know that was him. Okay, I haven't seen it, but I like that movie looked good.
I really like it.
Okay.
I think it was also based on, was it Eleanor Leonard? I might be getting that name mixed up.
I have no idea.
It was a true crime author.
Yeah, outside of my expertise.
Jackie Brown was also an adaptation of one of his stories.
Neat.
Anyway, yeah, it has like really great crime, bad guys, sharp dialogue. It's basically like a less stylized, but also stylized maybe differently, Tarantino gangster film.
Okay. Interesting.
But there's it's been a while since I've watched it, but like there's like no women in it.
So that is its own issue.
Yeah.
But also real easy to hide your issues with women whenever you're not directing women.
Right. Can't write horrible female characters if there are no femme characters to be seen. I do remember watching that with Brittany, and she fucking hated that movie.
I believe that. Yeah, I believe that wholeheartedly. Yeah. Oh, God. Sorry, I have that whole like telepathic fetus scene like just replaying in my head on loop right now.
It's so miserable.
It's so uncomfortable. It's so problematic. It is so fucking gross and manipulative, and my God.
This 3-hour movie, I paused, not intentionally, but I paused it almost exactly at the hour for every hour.
Yeah. Just by chance.
Just by chance.
Only to go, how the fuck is there another 2
hours
I was like,
or
another 1 hour?
It's got to almost be done, right?
Nope.
Oh, I forgot to spoil the book for you.
Go ahead and do that.
If what I'm reading on the internet is true, because I sure as shit did not read the book.
I didn't get to the end. So.
It implies that Robert Kennedy had her assassinated. Yeah. Yeah.
Excuse me?
Which is one of the conspiracy theories, because her death was a little weird. But also... Yeah, I think I don't know if this is what it is in the book, but I think the rationale for why that may have happened is she wrote like extensive journals, like journal diary entries.
Okay.
And said like, Robert Kennedy fucked me, it's JFK too. And they didn't want that out, so they killed her, because that's how that do. Anyway, I hate this movie, and I would like to be done talking about it now.
Yeah, I think that's fair. Yeah.
Okay.
It's so bad. It is absolutely deserving of Worst Picture. I will say that. In a year where I thought it was going to be a slam dunk that Morbius runs away with everything.
Hey guys, remember Morbius?
You remember that? Hey, you remember when a movie was so bad that people memed it back into theaters for a second time and it did worse?
I was kind of like getting excited to watch that for this podcast.
Right? Like I had it in the back of my head like, oh, we're definitely going to be covering that. And like I did watch it going into our like Razzie preview episode, and it's bad, but it's not this bad.
On my list of things I'd rather be talking about than this,
Morbius is on that list. Yeah. I mean, like you said, a lot of things are on that list. The actual physical sensation of eating peanut butter and sandpaper.
It would depend on the coarseness of the sandpaper, but yeah.
Yeah, I mean, you start with a low grit, see how it feels, and then you just kind of work your way up.
Just jump straight to crunchy, so it's just kind of all is crunchy.
Oh, you know what? Actually, just blend it with actual crunchy peanut butter, and you might not realize the two. God damn it.
Hey, Joe, where can they find us?
Thank you, everyone, for listening to part 1 of this incredibly stupid journey. We're sorry this movie exists. You can find us on social media, on Twitter at DeRazzled Pod, on Facebook at DeRazzled Podcast, on Instagram and TikTok at DeRazzled_podcast. If you have any questions about the unofficial Willem Dafoe Bad Art Short Film Festival, please email us at DeRazzledPodcast@gmail.com. You can also suggest things you'd like to see covered in future seasons, or stuff you'd like to see pop up in our Redbubble merch store, which, hey, check that out. We have a Redbubble merch store. There's some fun shirts like the one that Jack's wearing currently. They keep you safe from public indecency laws. And if you haven't already, please take a second to rate and review the show wherever you possibly can. We're on Apple Podcasts, Spotify. If you're on Stitcher, I'm sorry.
Yeah.
We heard the news as everyone else did that they're going to be shutting down soon. We are available pretty much everywhere else you listen to podcasts. So if you've been listening to us on Stitcher, thank you. I know there are some of you out there, based on our stats. So thank you for checking us out. And I hope that you continue to listen wherever you start to find your podcasts.
And we do we're trying to grow for season 3. If you have a friend or an enemy that you think would enjoy us, recommend the show.
Recommend the show. Yeah. If you have someone that you think would genuinely enjoy hearing us talk about Battlefield Earth, it's there. Yeah. If you have someone that you want to trick into listening to 2 episodes about Saving Christmas, great. We were happy to assist you in that because we already recorded it.
Yeah,
it's done.
It's happy now because it's done. I would not want to do it again.
I would never do it again. No.
Oh gosh. Okay. Well, join us next time, or we'll
be sure
to
razzle dazzle you.